Hi, I'm Keegan Rennie. I am a competitive Splatoon player just getting into the competitive scene, and I have a bunch of friends that are, let's just say, less experienced than I am at the game. This is my friend Jay. He is, how do I put this? Not quite at my level yet. And I thought it would be fun to explore what specials he thinks are the best in this game. I think I have all of the specials here on my screen. I should screen share with you, shouldn't I?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that would probably help. Alright, Jay, let's start with Big Bubbler, right here.
No, I forget that this thing exists. So.
Yeah.
Just
give your thoughts on it. What do you think is good about it? What do you think is bad about it? Overall, just what do you think?
I guess it's. I don't know. It's just there. I mean, I don't really. I don't know. I put it in like C tier or something.
C tier. Okay. Booyah Bomb. Yep.
I also am not very experienced with this one, but I'm gonna put. I mean, Booyah Bomb is still useful, but I'd say, I don't know, B or A tier. It's big explosion.
I mean, it is.
This big explosion. It can help you get out of bad spots, I guess, sort of, maybe, kind of. Shit. I can't describe. I'm bad at putting into words.
That's fine. Just B or
B.
Which one? B.
Just B for booyah.
B for booyah. You know what? That makes sense.
Okay, crab. I fucking hate crab. It says.
It says tier. Okay.
I fucking hate crab.
Oh yeah, Jay does hate crab. Cue the montage of you screaming at crab.
Oh, really? Epic! Yeah!
They won.
Stop! No! Oh, what? No! Stop! No!
Who was the bowler?
Ah, no, not the crab! Not the damn crab!
Inkstorm.
Inkstorm, you know, I forget this thing exists until I die to it. It's what happens to me every single match. I would say this thing sucks, but I die to it more than I like to admit, so I'd probably put it in, I guess, B tier. I mean, it's not...
Would you say it's better or worse than Booyah Bomb?
Probably worse.
Probably worse, okay. It's Inkvac.
Oh yeah, Inkvac. I hate that. Inkvac is... It's good, and it's really, really annoying, but... I put it in A tier, I guess. Inkjet, supposedly the best special in the game.
What do you think? Just devoid of any opinions that you may have gotten.
I'd say it's. I mean, I know you get quads with it all the time, but I think it's probably A tier, I guess.
Okay, above or below Inkjet? I mean, Vac.
I guess it's a.
Killer Whale 5.1. You hate Killer Whale?
I hate like half of the fucking things here. I mean, it's good, but I'm really bad at explaining why I think it's bad. I die.
Good job.
Pretty simply put, yeah. I'd say top of B tier.
Top of B tier. Kraken Royale.
I've not used Kraken once, actually. I've never used Kraken, and I remember it because Ryan has it all the time. But like I said, I've never used it, but it seems good. I don't know. I know it covers a lot of ink. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but thing. So, I think it covers a lot. I might be getting this. I don't know. Bottom of A tier, I guess.
Bottom of A tier. Okay. Reef Slider.
I mean, I thought about it a bit more. It's probably not as good as I give it credit for, because I'm just stupid and I died to it because I'm not fucking paying attention. I'd say bottom of B tier.
Super Chump, do you even know what this special is?
I don't know what this special is. Is it newly added?
Yeah, it's a new special. It's pretty much, it puts down a bunch of fake super jump spots in a certain area, and then they come down and they're just little bubbles that explode after a few seconds.
Yeah, I don't think I even know what that is.
Okay, so unranked?
I guess we're gonna leave it unranked, yeah.
Cooler!
Cooler, S tier, let's go.
S tier above or below crab?
Below.
Below crab.
Below, but of course, I love fuck tentacles. I want to put it in D tier so bad,
Okay.
but I gotta be realistic. I mean, it's not even that broken. It's just really, really annoying. I guess bottom A.
Tripling strike.
I get screwed by this way more than I really should. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I would say middle of B tier, like right between Rio Bond and
Trizuka.
Trizuka. Yep, I remember that one. I actually haven't used it before, but I have had it used against me on several occasions, which was fun. But as you can tell, I stick to like 2 weapons when I play this fucking game. It's very obvious. But,
Carbon and Tri.
Yeah. Trizuka, I'd say top of B, I guess.
Alright. Ultra Stamp.
I was told Stamp got better. I might be stupid though. But Stamp it's fine. I mean, it's way better than it used to be. Where it wasn't like really buggy before. I remember.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It was just a mess. But now it's better, I think. I'd say top B. I guess actually below Trizuka.
Wavebreaker.
Wavebreaker is stupid. Give it right above 10 missiles, I think.
Right above 10 misses. Alright. And last but not least, Zipcaster.
Least, actually. Well, I mean, it's alright. I put it in C tier just above. I realized I did not use D tier throughout this entire show. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, overall, you seem to think that the specials are overall pretty good. Now, we're going to go by my judgment. A more experienced player, probably like a Div 10 player, I'd say. I'd rank myself around Div 10. Haven't actually participated in any tournaments, but I have played with some other competitive players before. And I also play quite regularly with friends. So I have some experience with higher level casual play, and I am also really interested in competitive Splatoon. So, with that being said, let's start with Big Bubbler. Big Bubbler, I love Big Bubbler. As a special, I think this thing is awesome. It is a super healthy special for the game, right? With that being said, as cool and as awesome as this thing gets shredded. And it is very rarely useful. The beacon is a good touch on this weapon. However, since it gets shredded so fast, usually when people die after this is placed, they don't even get to use the beacon because this thing is just gone by the time they respawn. And it honestly sucks. I think this thing could work a lot better in this tacticaler meta, but right now, as it stands, I think I'm gonna have to put it at C tier.
I was right.
Booyah Bomb! Booyah Bomb is one of my favorite specials from Splatoon 2. I think it is just really cool looking, and it's quite interactive with your team. You know, your team has to contribute to this for you to really get any use out of it. Or else you're probably just gonna die. They're gonna shred your armor. I think the armor, as it stands right now, is completely fair. And overall, I think this is a really well-balanced special. It's pretty good. However, its utility is a bit lacking compared to some of the other specials. So I'm going to put it probably A tier. I really like Booyah Bomb. I think it's really cool. Crab Tank. I also really like Crab Tank. I think it's a really cool special with a lot of different aspects to it that can be used really well. Sure, it probably is still a bit overtuned, but I think that it is still, all things considered, a pretty healthy special to have dominated Splatoon 3 for so long.
Very toxic, actually. Fuck that.
But overall, I like this special, and I still think it's pretty top tier. Inkstorm. Inkstorm is really cool. I think that it works really, really well with certain weapons, but overall it is pretty kit dependent. It doesn't work with every weapon super well, but when it does work, it works really well. It's really well designed, a little bit of utility, quite a bit of utility actually. However, it's not very interactive, so I don't really like it. But overall, I'd say it's decently powerful. I'd say B tier. Inkvac. Inkvac, I think, is another really cool special. I think when I first saw this thing, I fell in love with it. I thought I was going to use this thing all of the time. And then I realized that it was on none of the weapons that I like, and I was just like, I'll mess around with it for a little bit on the Rapid. I think it was the Rapid, or was it the Rapid Pro? I used that a little bit. I didn't like it, and I played Vac, and I was just like, this thing is way too slow, way too immobile, and you're way too vulnerable for a lot of the time when you're using this. This thing is in an unfortunate state where I think it could be a lot better. However, as it stands, not powerful enough to be worth risking using it right now. So D tier, unfortunately.
Damn.
Inkjet. Inkjet, for a while, most of Splatoon 2 and like half of Splatoon 3, I think this thing was completely undertuned. It was really weak and really vulnerable. However, it got some major buffs, like the buff where it can like jump higher, and also its 50 damage radius is larger, and I think that really helped this thing. This thing is really threatening. It can get you into a lot of really good positions in areas where a lot of things cannot reach you, and overall, just the angles that you get with this thing, with the power that it has. It's really dynamic. I really like this thing, and I'm gonna put it in S tier. However, controversial opinion, I'm pretty sure, below Crab Tank. I don't think it's as good as Crab Tank. Killer Whale 5.1. This thing is alright. It's alright. Its design is fine. Its utility is okay. But I don't really enjoy using it that much. I don't think it really does. It does stuff for me when I use it, but I don't feel like I'm using it. It's pretty much completely automatic. It works on some weapons really well. Like the 52, I think it works pretty good on. But other than that, it's not super threatening. Either top of C or bottom of B, I'd say. Just from what I've seen, probably bottom of B. It's all right, especially in solo queue, but in the coordinated environment, it's probably not as good as it is in solo queue. Kraken Royale. You know, I'm glad that it's back from Splatoon 1. It's cool looking, it's cool to use, but this is something that I think a lot of competitive players reciprocate, is that you're getting rid of your main and sub weapon to use this thing. You don't get a whole lot of mobility or speed, and sure, it is a little bit threatening, but just ignoring this thing is way too easy, because you're pretty much up an entire player down, and if you don't get any value out of this, it's pretty bad. But it is better than Killer Whale in my opinion, because of how threatening this thing can be. In certain use cases, this thing is really good. Reef Slider. I hate this special, but I also love this special. I think it's cool, and I think that it could be a lot better than what it is right now. But right now, it is way too predictable, not too threatening, and you are way too vulnerable before and after you use it. And so, for me, I honestly think that since it has less utility than Vacuum, I think it's worse than Vacuum. I know a lot of people think that Vacuum is worse than Reef Slider, but in my opinion, Reef Slider is worse. I think you can do a lot more with Vacuum. Super Jump. This thing is cool. I really like this thing. I know a lot of people were scared that it was going to be a Tennis Missile 2.0, but it's not. And I think it's a lot healthier than Tennis Missile, a whole lot healthier. I think this is one of the healthiest specials in the game, because it's really cool, the things that you can do with this. With that being said, the Super Chumps are not threatening at all. They paint alright, but I think if they painted a bit more, this would increase their threat, even if they don't increase the damage. These things are really easy to break, and I'd say they're only really a threat to slow weapons like Dynamo. But even to something like Paintbrush and Rapid, they don't struggle with this very much at all. I think it is below Big Bubbler. But this thing could be a lot better, and I hope it does get a lot better. Tacticooler. This thing, I remember before the game came out, people were like, this thing is going to be busted. It is way too overpowered. It is just going to be Ink Armor 2.0. And then people started playing the game and they realized this special kind of sucks. It clumps everybody in your team into one predictable area, and the buffs that you get from this are not worth that kind of risk. And so people didn't really use it until it got two major buffs: its duration and its radius that you can pick it up from. And then it became a really cool, a really good special, because now the buffs that you get from it are worth it, especially against Inkjet and Crab Tank. These things are really threatening, so if you're able to dampen that threat, then it is a really good special. However, by itself, outside of this meta, I don't think it's that good. It's still a good special, and I still think it's pretty cool. If you're not fighting Inkjet or Crab Tank, it's not as useful. And a lot of weapons don't benefit too much from it. Most weapons benefit a lot from it, but it's still not something that is so useful, especially since it gets rid of like your stealth, because people can see you in the ink when you have this. Still a good special. I'd put it bottom of A tier. 10 of missiles. I hate to say it, this thing is still cracked. It is still goated. The only reason that we don't see it too much, I think, is the weapons that it's on. Really, the only weapon that it's on that is worth using right now is the diaper. And that weapon is good to have missiles on, but since it has beacons, it's not really able to capitalize too much off of using the missiles. Because of that reason, we don't see it very much. However, by itself, if it were to be put on better weapons that are better for competitive play, then this thing would still be an absolute menace, even with the nerf that it got early on in the game. Top of S tier.
All in all, fuck 10 missiles.
Yeah, I agree. Fuck 10 missiles. I hate them. Tripling Strike. This is one of my favorite specials in all of Splatoon. I think this is really cool. I think they made it a lot more cool moving from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 3. I think being able to throw them instead of just launching it by pressing on the map is cool, and it adds a level of complexity that it kind of needed from Splatoon 1. As cool as these things are, and as powerful as they got pretty early on in this game's lifetime, they're still very vulnerable. For quite a while, you are completely defenseless. You have no main weapon or sub-weapon and cannot swim in the ink. And if somebody knows that you're going to pop this, or sees you pop this, and they have even the slightest opportunity, you are wasting time and you are probably just going to go down without getting much use out of this. Which sucks. If they just got rid of a little bit of that vulnerability, even just adding it, making it so that you can swim in your ink while you have this out, I think that would make this a lot better. But as it stands right now, this might be a bit harsh, but it's the top of C tier. It's not a terrible special, but it is really vulnerable. Actually, you know what? No, I think it's beneath Whale, but it is B tier. I'm reconsidering. I'm putting it above Whale. It is really good at displacement, and you can cover quite a lot of area with this. And its ink output is actually pretty good too. Like the T-Tech. T-Tech is one of my main weapons, so I love using this. Works really well on T-Tech, and I have a lot of fun with it. It's pretty useful, but at the same time, like these specials up here just get a lot easier use out of it. Trizuka. This thing is really scary to fight, but it's so inconsistent and so slow that a lot of the weapons that have this special work really well with it, like the Clash and the Shot. But Tenebrella definitely benefits the most from it because it just synergizes really well with this special. But since the special is so inconsistent and slow, I'm gonna have to put it beneath Strike. Ultra Stamp. This thing is kind of similar to Inkjet, where for most of Splatoon 2 and most of Splatoon 3, this thing was really undertuned and really weak for no reason. But then they gave it some buffs, and now it's pretty good. I really like using this special. I think it's really fun. You can stamp it, you can jump and twirl with it, and then you can throw it, and it does a lot of object damage. Specifically on Rainmaker and against Crab, this thing is good, but it's still very vulnerable. I'd say more vulnerable than Inkjet, because Inkjet can move around a lot more freely than Ultra Stamp can. And if you get shot from the back with this thing, then you're pretty much dead. Still a good special though. I'd say it's above Kraken. Wavebreaker. I like Wavebreaker. It's fine. It's cool. Definitely got some utility. However, is it that good? I think not. I think that making the enemy team jump, threatening them with location for a little bit and a little bit of damage is really cool and healthy for the game. However, it is not that threatening, especially since this thing can get shredded really quickly if you have just a little bit of object shredder or you're just running like a wiper. Like this thing can die really quickly, and if this thing is gone on like an E-liter, the E-liter is pretty much screwed if it was relying on this. So, I don't know. C. I don't think it's C worthy. I think it's definitely B tier. I just don't know where to put it. Probably above Kraken. Zipcaster. I like this thing. This thing is really fun to use, and I was really excited to get this thing on the Splash since we saw that in the first trailer, I think it was. I think this would work really well in the Splash, and it's, overall, I don't think anybody can deny, this is one of the coolest specials in all of Splatoon. But it's really weak sometimes. You're still very vulnerable, you don't get your sub-weapon, and it's pretty predictable. You shoot your arm out, and then you take some time to get to where your arm reached, and then people can just shoot you. You don't really get any armor. You get a little bit of armor sometimes with this special. It's really situational. You can get into some really cool areas with this special, but it is very weak, and if you're not very good with your main weapon and knowing your angles with your main weapon, this thing's pretty weak. Probably above Chump and C tier. And this is my Splatoon 3 special tier list. What are your thoughts, Jay?
5 10 missiles.
Anything that you learned?
I learned that my opinions are probably wrong.
I mean, let's pull up both mine and yours. This is mine. Let's compare our top tiers, which would be the S and the A. Tenant Missiles, Crab, Jet, Booyah Bomb, Tacticooler. Tacticooler, Crab, Jet. And those are... and Tenant Missiles. But Tenant Missiles are probably a bit lower than they should be.
10 missiles should be higher, but I fucking hate them.
You put Vac and Kraken probably way higher than they should be.
Look, I made a mistake.
Let's see, Zipcaster. Yeah, me and you both put Zipcaster and Big Bubble in the same tier. B tier. Pretty similar, actually. Yeah, we got like Storm, Stamp, Then we got Zuka, Whale. We got Zuka, Whale. Then we got Strike, Kraken, and Wave. And then we got Strike, Kraken, and Wave are up here. But overall, you didn't do terrible. I'm surprised at how accurate you were.
Yay.
Good job, Jay.
Half things I didn't want to put higher or lower out of spite. 10 missiles.
That's how our tier lists compare. Maybe we could do this later on with weapons and subs. I think that would be kind of fun. I think there's going to be a lot more disagreement with which weapons we think are better than others.
I mean, I don't even have experience in half of weapons.
We'll wait a little bit. We'll wait a little bit before that happens, though.
Yeah, and give it time.
Anyway, thanks for watching if you got this far, and let me know what your tier list would look like if you were to rank them. Thank you!